Welcome to the Windows and Computer channel, and this is just to clarify a situation I see quite a lot on the channel about people seeing options that I will show, and when they go to the menus or they go to those options, they don't see the options available. Remember that there are several different versions of Windows 10, and depending on what version you have, when I show something in the settings, depending on the date of the video that you actually have chosen, or the video that you found, there's a difference in the menus. There's a difference in where some of the settings are actually set. Same thing, a lot of people commenting on the option to restart the PC and saying, well, I don't see that option. I don't see that option to boot in safe mode, or all of that has changed over time. And it's very important to make sure that you are following a video that is close to the version that I have. The only indication of that most of the time is either on the title, because when I show settings, I'll often say what version of Windows 10 I'm actually referring to in the settings, or just look at the date of the video. If the video is 2 years old, it refers to a version of Windows 10 2 years ago. There has been changes. There have been things that have, moved from one place to the other. Some of the settings change place. Some of the settings have more options. Some have less options. And of course, you might be actually also seeing a video that's very recent, but that actually you are using an old version of Windows 10. So you might be on 1909, for example, watching a video where I show a setting or a change in the October 2020 update. And you might say, well, it's not there. Well, it's not there because you're not at the same version. It's possible that one of the settings has changed, and that's very important to understand. That's where the complexity of Windows 10 also goes through. When you had previous versions of Windows XP, Windows 7, and so on, things didn't change really. There were some service packs, but there weren't really, changes in the menus or options. The version of Windows stayed pretty much the same, and all the options were pretty much always the same through the years. In Windows 10, because it's Windows as a service, it gets updates that change some of the features, move some of the features around. So it's very important to understand that when you watch videos. Unfortunately, it's a tough one to address because, there is some settings. There are some settings that you might not see. And there's also another thing about the settings. Each computer has different hardware, and manufacturers tend to have a lot of their own software that controls that hardware. So I might be showing you a setting about, one great example, showing you a setting that about the display, and you'll have multiple display possibles and so on, and you're going to say, well, mine doesn't work like that. When I check, it says it doesn't have a second screen, or when I check, it doesn't have the same, it's grayed out or something. One of the biggest problems with some of these settings, including, for example, having more than one display on your PC, often it's actually the software from the computer that is on the hardware you have that changes that. An example, my Toshiba laptop that I have, the only way to have a second screen is that you have to go through the Toshiba Catalyst, AMD Catalyst settings, because that's where you add a second screen. It overrides the settings from Windows. And I always thought that was stupid of manufacturers to do this, that everything should be handled with Windows when Windows has the option to do it, and only add stuff that Windows cannot do or does not do. Because that gets really, really in the way. People already are, a lot of people have limited knowledge, and what happens is they plug the display. They might have found the display setting is in Windows, but are wondering why it doesn't work. Then they blame Windows because they say, well, crappy Windows doesn't detect screen and so on. and has nothing to do with it. It has to do with, well, your graphics driver that might have some software that displays on a second screen overrides Windows settings. And that I always thought was one of the dumbest things that manufacturers did in general, was to have their own software override Windows settings. Because then, it gets super complex and super complicated, and people get lost and end up, frustrated more than anything else, because there's too many ways to do the same thing. So this was just to let you guys know about that, because a lot of times when people watch videos, it's a very complex situation, and it's very difficult to actually address that in videos, especially, I would need to have, 100 different models of computers to be able to do enough videos of all the different little differences everywhere, depending on what machine you have at home. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.